Okay, so welcome everyone. This is Todd Carpenter. I'm the staff executive for the Data Strategies Committee. I have Bill Lublin, our chair, on the line, Jason O'Neill, the co-chair. Also see that Mike Theo from the AEC is on the line, as well as Cindy Sampalis. This webinar is for the benefit of both the AEC and Data Strategies Committee. It is to kind of discuss the concept of a data dictionary. As everyone knows, we have the standardization of some member data, and that's the NERD standard, and that is working perfect, and there's not really any need to change that core piece of data. But we definitely have a lot of additional data that all associations are dealing with, things like committee attendance and whether or not people are going to events or earning designations, things like that. And there's going to be a lot of value in trying to build a standard dictionary for that as well. So over the course of this year, Mr. Lublin and I have been meeting with the folks at RESO, with the leadership with the AEC, trying to come up with a plan for how we want that to look. And one of the things we wanted to do first was introduce everyone on both committees to the Real Estate Standards Organization, have Jeremy Crawford explain, what the value of that organization is, what the kind of work they've done, what the kind of work they've done in the past concerning the RETS data dictionary, which is focused more on listing properties, but it's been hugely beneficial to the industry. And so this is being recorded, and we'll have this available to all the other committee members that couldn't make it. But what I really just wanted to do is let Jeremy introduce the organization and talk about what they're working on next.
Thank you so much, Todd, and thank you all for joining today. And again, as Todd said, we are recording this session. We will make it available via the Real Estate Standards Organization's YouTube channel. So feel free, once we have that available, to syndicate that for anyone that you think would be of interest for that. What I'd like to do today is just to give you an overview. I know some of you are very familiar with the Real Estate Standard Organizations, and others of you may not be, and let you know more details about standards in general, a couple of broker perspectives related to standards within the industry of real estate, what we've been doing specifically at RESO, our history, the members of our organization, and how the standards process flow, and then show you some details of the RESO Data Dictionary as one of our work products. And I'll also talk about the RESO Web API, which is the industry replacement of RETS, which Todd mentioned, for the next standard in transporting data, and show you some of the details of what we have today with membership, roster, and office data standardized, and where we would like to help your business needs from what we know now and gather more input and be able to expand what we have and hopefully make that work for you. So again, thank you all for joining. I will let you know that there is a question panel. So if you do have a question while I'm doing the presentation, if you will put that into the question panel, and we will be able to try to address those as we go through the presentation. And I will open it up for Q&A at the end as well. And as Todd let me know, we will try to keep this around 30 minutes, but we'll definitely stay on as long as you would like us to do to make sure all of your questions are answered. So again, thank you for joining. I want to start with just a high-level view of standards and talk about standards in general. Today, there are more than 100,000 standards in the United States. We normally don't think about it very often, but 80% of every dollar spent has a level of standardization behind it. And standards are in every industry for many beneficial factors for those individual industries, including real estate. One example is one standard implementation at the U.S. Department of Defense saved $789 million. I personally don't like paying taxes, so I'm very excited to see someone such as the Department of Defense exercising the benefits of standards and saving that level of money and being able to provide them efficiencies as well. Many of you in the industry have GFI circuits in your house, extremely common. That is actually a standard which was created by competitors of electricians to find a common way to resolve home fires. And so today that's estimated to resolve 40,000 home fires a year, resulting in over 1,400 injuries and 350 deaths. And that is essentially similar to what we do at RESO, is we take our competitive hats off at the door and work to the common good. And essentially the standards that we provide, as well as other industries, is trying to offer you products and services and allow the ability to increase innovation and reduce cost and duplication efforts, as well as to provide quality. So before I get into the details of the Real Estate Standards Organization as a company, we did a survey last year that encompassed over 500,000 agents through broker surveys, large, medium, and small brokers, to talk to them about what their challenges were. And so essentially we asked the brokerage community, what can we do at the Real Estate Standards Organization to help them, and what challenges do they see surrounding data? And I know many of you manage membership systems today, and there's quite a bit of data in there. There's also ties to e-commerce, which is extremely important. And so looking at the brokerage community, what we found that, including membership and roster data, typical brokerages have 5 or more systems and tools that they and their agents use to transact business that need data. And they need not only MLS data and listing data, but it's extremely important for them to know, for the development of their agents, the information about their training classes they've been to, their designations they've been to, how long they've been involved at particular associations, what their leadership and committee positions might be. And we've learned from the brokerage community that that information is extremely important for them as they're trying to manage all the other aspects of their business, and essentially needing a common way to transmit that from one system to another is a huge challenge for the brokerages. And their number one response was that inconsistent data fields from different MLSs, from different associations from the membership side, is their number one challenge that they have out there. And they feel that 91% of them said that data standards are critical and can help their business. And at RESO, we do really look at the forefront of the brokerage community, as they are the heart and soul of this industry, and we want to make sure that we're working towards them. And in addition to that, they want to say in the data standardization process, and I believe that you all do as well, we want to invite you in to always let you have a seat at the table, as this is information that you use to run your business and help your brokers and agents. And we want to let you know that, you know, RESO is an open organization for everyone to participate for the good of the industry. So from the broker perspective, Pam O'Connor just recently announced a year ago, quality of standards matter. And that applies to not just listing data and membership data, but really in every aspect of the brokerage community. And a quote we received also was that it can create cost savings, increase speed and deployment of listing data, and additional other aspects of data as well. And essentially 85% of the brokers we surveyed believed if they had consistent data flowing, their technology costs would be reduced. They could move to technology innovation. Bug fixes in their products and services they use to transact business could be faster to implement. Enhancements are faster to market, and quicker response times are available. And while these are the views of the brokerage community, as we survey technology companies, Association of Realtors, and other organizations that everyone works with through the ecosystem of real estate, these are benefits that apply to everyone through standardization. So why the Real Estate Standards Organization? RESO was loosely formed in the late 90s with assistance by NAR. And at that time, the goal was a way to transmit data, listing data, out of an MLS into products that would give agents websites with their listings, give brokers the opportunity to have CRM systems with listing data in it, and help them with their marketing and advertising efforts, and be able to provide those listings in a form that could be advertisable across the internet in the late 90s. We were incorporated in 2011 as an independent nonprofit membership-based organization. We are a 501c6 organization. Sometimes we are tied with NAR, but we are actually an independent organization where NAR participates heavily in a positive light with RESO. Today, we have over 720 member organizations. So with RESO, our membership is company-based, and we have over 1,000 of individual subject matter expert volunteers that contribute to data standards at RESO, very similarly how your committees at your association work with volunteers that contribute to each of those individual committees and task force and even your boards of directors. So we are a nonprofit organization, and we do a lot of things very similar to your processes in an association regarding needing contributions. I like to tell people at RESO, we don't create the standards, we facilitate you all as the subject matter experts for creating the standards, and that is our role. RESO is a virtual company as well. Just so you're aware, we often get the question, where are we located? And all of our employees at RESO, which are 3 today, work from home, and we keep our costs low as a not-profit in doing so. Our membership community includes brokerages, small, medium, and large. The big franchises such as Keller Williams, Realogy, Home Service of America, Next Home, Realty World, all the way to small independent brokerages such as Michael Saunders and Company and Watson Realty, Alon Pinnell Realtors. They're members within RESO, and they participate in standards. But we also have associations that are membership, multiple listing services, a large set of technology companies, including those that do membership management systems such as Rapatoni, Lamps, MMSI, and Ramco are all members and available to participate in standardization, as well as MLS software providers. And we do also have members from the Green Button Alliance, as well as the Council of MLS, and even the Canadian Real Estate Association is a member and uses RESO standards to help them in Canada with transferring data in a standardized manner. We are open source, so our initiative is to allow members to contribute to the future evolution of standards, but in doing so, that provides us the intellectual property rights protection to make those standards free and open source to everyone. So only members can actually provide input into the standards, but once those are ratified by the RESO Board of Directors, those are free and available to anyone to use, be it a member or a non-member. And we want to make sure that people use standards correctly. So we help organizations adopt RESO standards and provide certification services. And I do like to tell everyone, those are not similar to getting your car inspected and you either pass or fail. We actually help you as an organization implement those standards and work with any technology provider within that process as well. We want to make sure that everyone adopts the standards that were created so it does reap the benefits, as I mentioned earlier. So how does the standards process work for those that are members and volunteer committee members, if you will? So the first aspect is, what is the business challenge we're looking at? That business challenge goes into our research and development work group. We like to call that the work group of our funnel for the process of standards from inception to ratification and available for utilization in the industry. The research and development work group vets out the idea and the business challenge and decides where that goes. And so they send that over to a standards work group. And I'll let you know what our standards work groups are here momentarily. The standards work group is the volunteers that work together. A typical work group will meet monthly, virtually through GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, depending upon how large the work group is. And they will also meet on site at RESO spring and fall conferences. We have 2 conferences a year, and we try to hold on-site work group meetings so those can participate face-to-face, and we do find we get a lot done in that respect. Once the standard work groups decide upon a standard for a particular item and they pass that, that is reviewed by the RESO Technical Committee. The Technical Committee is actually made up of the work group chairs of each RESO work group, and that is led by Chad Curry, who is the Managing Director for the Center of Realtor Technology, and Chad is also on the RESO Board of Directors. Chad is one of 2 NAR individuals on our Board of Directors. Mark Lesswing is also on the RESO Board of Directors, and we do have 19 Board of Directors at RESO. That is split between small and large MLSs and associations, small and large technology companies, NAR, RPR, and the brokerage community. So we make sure that there is representation on our board as well as on our standard work groups that has every stakeholder in the process of the data standards that we're working to create. Once the technical committee has reviewed a particular standard a work group passes, it's sent to the RESO Board of Directors for review and approval. Once the RESO Board of Directors approves the standard, that is then the open source production certified, ratified standards and delivered out to the community. And that becomes the business solution through RESO Standardization for the initial business challenge that was there. As I mentioned, going through our work groups and committees, today we have the Research and Development Work Group, as I mentioned, chaired by Greg Moore from the Portland MLS, who's their Director of Technology. We have our Data Dictionary Work Group, and I'll dive into the details of the RESO Data Dictionary, chaired by Rob Larson, who's the CIO of the California Regional MLS. Within the Data Dictionary Work Group, we form subgroups, and we have already formed a membership subgroup, a lockbox subgroup. Last year, we had a showing data subgroup, which is now standardized, and we have other specialized subgroups within Data Dictionary when they need to do so. The Transport Web API work group is to work on the transportation of data, and that is the replacement of RETS. The RETS work group has been officially retired and sunset. So the RETS standard, as Todd mentioned, from the RESO standards perspective, we have retired that. It'll be used in the industry for many years, but from the standards perspective, it has been officially retired. The Internet Tracking Work Group is there to work on standardization that flows into the Data Dictionary that helps a broker understand the activities of their listing. So they work on things such as how does a broker's listing perform on Realtor.com as opposed to Zillow, as opposed to in the MLS system, so they can see where their marketing dollar is based upon how many consumers are viewing their listings on those different advertising platforms. That's the purpose of the Internet Tracking Work Group. The Payloads Work Group is actually working on defining a standard set of fields for the Internet Data Exchange, also known as IDX. That is their focus right now, is to come up with a common way to exchange data for Internet Data Exchange for the brokers and the agents. And then we have Property Unique ID, which is an effort to identify every parcel in the nation with a unique identifier so companies can build out property history or deduplicate listings that they get from multiple sources. And then, as I mentioned, we have 3 committees: the Technical Committee, which Chad chairs, the Marketing Committee, which the RESO Membership and Marketing Manager, Kristen, chairs, and then the Certification Committee, and Greg Lemon, our certification expert, chairs that particular committee as well, and they work on issues related to the certification of standards and ensuring the correct adoption of standards. On our website, you will find all of the work group information as well as their charters, and you will find also all of the members that are with RESO. You can take a look at those 725 organizations and see who is a member within RESO as well. That information is available on our website. Also, the certification process is there as well. I want to touch on 2 work products that we have at RESO. As I mentioned, the RESO Web API. I won't go into it into too many details, but essentially the API is our replacement for RETS. APIs you all use on a regular basis, and you're very familiar with those from a use case, if not the terminology. And essentially, it allows you the ability in real time to piggyback sets of data. So when you use a Google map in Yelp to search for a restaurant, that is powered by APIs. That's the Google Map API that Yelp uses to integrate their restaurant points of interest with the Google Mapping software. Our API is 2 years old, going on 3 years old, and that is actually a global standard technology for the transportation of data. And so I won't go into the technical details, but we've leveraged OData, which is developed by companies like Microsoft and Oracle and Salesforce, as well as OpenID Connect, which allows single sign-on that many of you are familiar with, where you can go use Facebook to log into something, even your MLS perhaps, or your Gmail account and vice versa. That is what's within the RESO API standard, and it is very lightweight, so it will allow the support of a mobile environment for data, and it's faster and less expensive for products and services using real estate data. And many of the member systems out there today use APIs behind the scene, and some of them actually leverage some of these same technologies. And essentially, we want this to deliver efficiencies in the collection and use of real estate data. And this is available to support membership data systems, as well as the transfer of information from association to association. And the RESO Web API can actually be utilized to transmit that information between two associations. If you have an agent, for example, that might move to another state, it would be wonderful if their data could go with them from one association to another. And that's available on our website at reso.org/reso-web-API. So the data dictionary is where I want to focus on more. And the data dictionary is our Rosetta Stone for data in the real estate industry. And I like to say we are the real estate data standards organization, not the MLS or listing data standards organization. And I'll show you some examples of where we did start with the listing aspects, but we've moved into other categories. And you will see two fields on there as an example on the right, the Member Association of Realtors field and the Member State License field. These are small snippets of what we've already standardized regarding membership data. And we're obviously open to expanding those standards out to support your needs better. The data dictionary globalizes the common fields. It provides the standard name, data types, and technical data information, and the definition. The definition is more of a technical definition description, and it's not to be meant to have a business rule aspect to it. It's really there to help guide people to use what that field is for. So from the listing perspective, what we shoot for in our North Star is that the listing input form that is very common with multiple listing services, it would be great if that looked exactly like what agents and brokers see on their listings in RPR and what consumers see on Realtor.com. So our goal is to provide a level of consistency and efficiency all the way through the process. As we take a look at membership data, the perfect world of the story of an agent moving states, for whatever reason that might be, their ability to take with them electronically all of their designations, all of the classes they've had at a particular association, all of the committees, all of the volunteer efforts, their history, take that with them electronically and have that easily transmitted from one association to another, and at the same time be able to disregard which membership management system those two associations use. Data standardization will allow the opportunity, as alongside of the RESO Web API, to transmit that information and to move that information across from one platform to another in a consistent manner. So when they end up at their landing association, everything is already there for them. They don't have to fill out a bunch of forms and give you all a lot of information. That is ready to go. You can see the data dictionary online. It's actually in a wiki, ddwiki.reso.org. And within that, the two screenshots you see there and a couple more that I'm going to be providing for you today, you will see that this is an easy way to take a look, and there is a search option so you can search for different types of fields or just partial field names and see what you find within that overall. So as I mentioned, we've been standardizing more than just listing data. We started there, but we've moved across. We released the RESO Data Dictionary version 1.6 on August the 4th. It was our largest dictionary ever. And so what did it contain? Showing information standardization. We brought in showing time and centralized showing service, as well as Redfin, who does some of their own showing software, and brought them in to learn about their data. And we standardized that data set so a company like Redfin, who has multiple markets with multiple showing products, can aggregate that data in a common place and see what's going on with the showings of their listings, no matter what software was being used by the agents in that market. Accessibility features is a very important topic, and we worked with the disability rights activists as well as the Rogue Valley government certification services that does visitability and ADA certifications in the state of Oregon to make sure that accessibility features and listings are correct and accurate, and give the agent the sense that they are selecting proper terminology when they're putting that information in. So it's an example of where we utilize professional organizations to help the agents out. Saved searches is a big aspect. As you look at a home and your spouse or partner may look at a home through another application, the ability to sync up your saved searches, what you've saved in your carts, what your preferences were, was an area of standardization to make that information portable. It also helps MLSs have MLS interface of choice and provide more than one MLS platform, and an agent can pick and choose and know their saved searches are synced across all the software that they're using. Internet tracking fields, as I mentioned earlier, are included in the current release. We have different fields that have levels of certification to allow MLSs and technology companies to implement them gradually over time. So we did an expansion of those. And then community contributed fields are in there. So anyone that brought an individual issue into the standards work group, as well as expanding a lot of the values that are selected. And so in this one release, we have 225 new fields and 625 new values, which passes 3,000 fields and values in our current data dictionary. As of this week, yesterday, the RESO Board of Directors defined what they would like to see as the strategic objectives for standardization in the next version of the data dictionary, which will be set to be released in the spring to summer of next year. We try to do one release a year. Locksbox data standardization to flow between companies like PrimPoint, Supra, SentryLock, and any other lockbox data system that has electronic logging with it. Membership data was in the board of directors motion as a strategic initiative and goal of the organization to make sure that we prioritize your needs. Broker data standardization, there's a lot of broker data standardization needs in the industry outside of the listing detail. Discussions about signage, anything about membership, things that they need to track and record with their agents. So we're working on broker data standardization. We're working on supporting MLS business rules within the data dictionary, and that is there. Days on market has been something that's been talked about in the industry for many, many years regarding listings. That's going to be a strategic initiative. Working for phone and social media aspects, and then some of this does relate on membership data and being able to support those better. And then enhancements that would help with the RESO API functionality for data delivery. There's some things that we can do better there that works better in conjunction with the API compared to RETs, if you will. And then finally, our platinum list field of enumerations, those pick list values are in those goals as well. So these are our objectives for the next year. Now I wanted to give you just a brief snippet of what we've done so far as it surrounds membership, and know that we are open to changing and improving and evolving for the future to be able to help better support your needs. This is a long list of membership fields that we have already standardized, and you'll see a lot of these there that you're familiar with. These are actual standard names in our member resource today, and you can see a lot of different fields there. And as you look over there, you'll see some that are related to MLSs and some that are actually related to associations. And so this is an area where we want to expand and support your needs. And then from the office field as well, which is another area that you use day in out day in and day out. The office status field in the middle, but you'll see on the left and on the right a lot of office standardization relating to association or a technology entity or a multiple listing service. And some of these are specific to an association, if you will. So we really have done a lot of work on the back end to consider the membership, the roster, the office as part of the RESO data dictionary. And we want to expand that to the challenges that you have and see where we can work towards a resolution. As I mentioned, and I will be brief on this, RESO Certification is a service that we offer. It is free to members. Members can certify as many times as they would like across any aspect. So RESO provides certification on all of our standards. Once an entity is certified, they can use the RESO certified logo. And it is important to advertise that, as brokers and technology companies that consume different types of data know that they can use some of their common technology tools already built if you're a RESO certified standard. Certifications are available to MLSs, associations, brokerages, and technology companies. We even give certification to brokers and technology companies to ensure that they're pulling the data correctly from your organization, be it an association or MLS, and make sure they're being good stewards of the data, as you all often are in your organization. Our certifications are good for 1 year. A lot of the reasons that is that sometimes committees change things, and oftentimes those changes break compliance with certification, and so we like to recertify organizations every year. We also re-release an updated version of standards every year, and we certify on the 2 most recent versions. So we want to have everyone improve their standardization within their organization, and again, these are all free for members. And at any point within the certification terms and conditions, if we do get a report from someone that there is appearing to be an issue, we do like to reserve the right to retest, as we want to help you come in compliance with the adoption of standards for the good of the industry. So again, that is a member benefit. We do allow people to have a la carte certifications as a non-member for a fee, but all members can have as many types of certifications as many times as they like throughout their membership, if you will. And so I want to thank you all. We're running up into the Q&A aspect. I want to let you know that many of you all are already members of RESO, but if you're not, you can take a look at reso.org/join to see some of the details. You will see categories for different types of association and MLSs, technology companies, and brokerages from a class of membership. You will notice that NAR has their own class of membership, and Class E is designated as a Board of Director approved class for other organizations such as the Council of MLS and the Canadian Real Estate Association, as it is not an NAR affiliated association, if you will. We would love to see everyone in the community participate in RESO work groups with all of your subject matter expertise. It could be telling us what the problem is, or telling us what kind of solution you put in place for someone else's problem, and to have everyone sitting at the table to agree upon a solution that works for everyone. And also would ask for you to encourage others to be involved with RESO standards and be integrated with RESO standards for that purpose. And then finally, as I mentioned, we do have 2 conferences a year, spring and the fall. We limit those conferences because they are intimate, interactive conferences where we actually roll our sleeves up and try to get work done. We do have standard presentations, but most of the time we are interactively working on standardization needs of the industry. And within those conferences, we limit the spring to 250 attendees, and the fall is limited to 350 attendees. The fall is a little larger as we break up into business and technical tracks, so we can still keep a level of interaction between attendees and not just have a conference where we do presentations, but have a conference where we listen to your needs and work with you on how we can resolve those issues. My contact information is there. That is my cell phone. which is always available, and it's also published on reso.org. And we do have a general membership line and membership email as well. And so that brings us to Q&A. And I do want to first ask from the chairs, from Bill as well as Mike and Jason, if they would like to add anything, as anyone else can also ask questions, if you will. So Bill, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you if you would like to say anything to the group.
I think you did a wonderful job explaining the need for data standardization and how RESO has led that particular charge on behalf of the industry, not just NAR, and of course of all of our multiple memberships. It was after, and I will say to everybody, you really should check. I was talking to Jeremy about how I wanted to join and then found out I was already a member. So it's a good thing. I think I would turn it over to the other people and see whether or not there are any questions on how we can move forward.
Okay, definitely. And just so everyone is aware, I'm going to go ahead and unmute Mike. Michael, if you'll give me just 1 second. From a RESO membership perspective, when your organization is a member, everyone in the organization can participate. So from the brokerage community, if you are a broker, an agent, or a corporate employee of any brand within the Realogy family, or any brand within Berkshire Hathaway, or within Keller Williams or Next Home, you are a RESO member. And so the membership from those brokerage organizations covers every employee, every broker, and every agent of every brand within those franchises. And that works the same with associations. Every one of your employees can fully participate if you would like to do so. I am going to unmute Mike again and see if he can see if his audio.
Jeremy, it looks like he's not mic'd. So he said in the chat he has no comments right now.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you.
I'd like to comment though. One of the reasons why we wanted to introduce everyone to RESO, and that screen, the slide you had about 10 back where it had the list of all the fields, you know, is a good one. Yeah, right here. Because what we're not hoping is to make every committee member from these two committees try to figure out what to call what field and where. And that's really the strength of the work groups that are in RESO. But what we do want to make sure that we're taking care of is the needs of the association, the National Association, as well as the needs of the state and local associations. And so what we're trying to solicit, it doesn't have to be on this webinar, but certainly in the short term, is to get comments about the idea of standardizing this you know, additional enhanced data, and what kind of business concerns would you have? What kind of things do you want to make sure are covered? The association management companies like Rapatoni and MMSI, Ramco, Lamps, they're actually pretty excited about doing this, and so they're on board to help with a lot of that technical work. But the AEC really supports that state and local association cohort, and the data strategies committee certainly represents the needs of the national organization. And so we would really appreciate that input as we decide how we move forward. Obviously, RESO is going to build some a data dictionary for member data one way or another. We think that just like with all the work that they've done with listings, where the MLS committee eventually endorsed and then mandated the use of that, our two committees are similar in, you know, if this is meeting our needs, then we'll want to, you know, get behind RESO in an official way. So that's kind of the direction we're going, if that helps you, if you have any questions right now.
Yeah, so if there's anyone on the call and you have a question, if you can raise your hand in the GoToWebinar control panel, we will unmute you. And after the call today, If you do have any follow-up questions, again, feel free to contact myself directly. You can include Bill and or Todd on those questions via email, but I'm actually looking forward to hearing from your input and challenges and making sure that the technical organizations who Todd mentioned are very excited about participating in this know what direction you need to help your state, local, and national needs regarding membership data standardization. And Todd, I'm not seeing any hands raised at this time.
Well, the shorter the webinar, the better.
Well, great. I want to thank you all so much for allowing us to talk to you today about RESO and giving us the opportunity so we can help you all out. And please let us know if you have any follow-up questions. We will take this recording and publish it out on our YouTube channel and work with Bill and Todd to make sure you all receive a link of that. It will be public, so feel free to share it with anyone that you would like. The more people we have involved in these efforts, the better job we can do at RESO and helping you with resolutions. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Jeremy.